Good morning, ladies and gents, how are you all doing? So, a bit of a different kind of video for you today actually. I am actually going to be listing a few points of why I think everyone, including you, need to be gaming on PC. Now, don't take this the wrong way, please don't think this is a PC master race, I hate console peasants, all that kind of crap kind of video. It is not. I myself actually own a PS4 and a couple of other consoles as well. So, I still own consoles, but I am primarily a PC gamer, and I think, to be honest, everyone needs to be for quite a number of reasons. I'm going to go over all of them in this video. So, first off, I think everyone needs to be a PC gamer because the way things are going with consoles right now, there's a lot of talk in the industry at the minute that consoles are actually either, if we do see a 5th generation of consoles, so PS5s, that kind of stuff, they're going to be modifiable. They're going to be interchangeable parts, so you can actually buy different parts, you can actually upgrade them yourself and all the rest of it. Exactly how PCs are right now. To be honest, just for that fact alone, I can't really see the point in buying a next generation console if you're having to upgrade it like you are a PC every couple of years or so, because to be honest, why would you not just go with a PC that can do more? It's multifunctional, you can use it for YouTube, websites, whatever, even while you're gaming. If you die in a game and then you've got a minute to wait until you respawn, you can literally alt tab out and go do something else for a minute. You can't do that on console. That's probably one of the first points I want to make actually, is it's very multifunctional. I am literally recording this video just after I've done a university assignment that I've just written up on Word, come straight over onto this after submitting it to do this video. That's how quick and versatile PCs are. If I obviously couldn't write it on a console, and then I'd have to get my PC booted up anyway, and then I'd have to boot up my console to actually play the game or do some video recording. So PC in that sense is very multifunctional and useful. Moving on from that, you've also, because it's upgradable, because PCs obviously have all the interchangeable parts and all the rest of it, you can literally make a PC exactly how you want to make it. You can spend as much as you want on it, you can spend as little as you want on it. I've actually got a PC that over the years, yeah, it would have cost me more than a new console or whatever, but it is playing all the latest and greatest games at easily 60 FPS, all ultra settings, all the highest settings available in the game, and that's not even really breaking a sweat at all. That's ridiculous. You don't get that on console at all nowadays. You have to be very, very lucky, and you've got to have a really decent developer to make a game on console at 60 FPS, 1080p, all the rest of it. Once you start venturing into the realms of 4K as well, consoles are definitely dipping below 60 FPS. PCs, they are keeping up at the minute, and not a lot of people can keep up with 60 FPS on 4K at the minute, but that is changing very, very quickly. But it's going to be a lot easier on PC to keep up with it than it is on console, that's for sure, because they've just made you go out and buy a whole new console, whereas with a PC, the worst case scenario, you need to go out and buy a new GPU, that's it. To be honest, that's either going to be the same price as the console or cheaper if you're a little bit savvy and picking up where you're getting stuff from. So you can really make a PC your own. You can put your own programs on it, you can make it as much as you want, and that kind of brings me into the next point. Making a PC is fun. Now, I actually only just properly built my own PC. I always changed all the parts and everything inside it before. I never really touched the motherboard or the CPU though. I was always a little bit hesitant, I was always a little bit anxious about doing that, because I knew if I did that and I really fudged it, I could really fudge the whole computer up, and I didn't have money at the time to fix it if I did do that. But to be honest, actually building a PC, it's so easy these days. Long gone are the days where you had to drill holes and things and try and match everything up and all the rest of it. Now, as long as you buy a PC case, which is the same kind of case, or a case that's built for your motherboard, you can't really go wrong from there, to be honest. And there's so much YouTube stuff out there. guides on Google, there's loads and loads of stuff, loads of people willing to help people get into PC building, because it is a really good, fun thing to do, and it's so I can't stress actually how easy it is. And if you are worried about it, if you were a bit scared about it like I was before, don't be. I wish I had done this years and years ago, because it's such an easy thing to do. The most troublesome part I had was putting a CPU cooler on my CPU, and that's because the holes didn't quite line up properly, or I'd done it the wrong way round or something. I couldn't really be asked to figure out. Still managed to do it though. Literally only took me about an hour to do, and that's the whole PC building. And then putting obviously all your programs, because I had to start from scratch after that. I put on all my new programs and all the rest of it again, which did take a little bit of time, but I know that everything on this computer now is fresh, it's new install, it's everything that I needed and want it to be. So that nicely brings me into the next bit, which is you can pick up very cheap parts, especially now to play games at a decent frame rate, at decent graphics, parts that are appropriate and are actually going to be able to do that are so cheap these days. PC gaming and PC building did used to be a bit of an expense, a little bit expensive back in the day, but now honestly it is cheap. I can't really say it any other way. It is cheap nowadays. Obviously you can spend as much as you want. You can go out and spend absolutely thousands on water cooling, the top GPUs, the top CPUs, everything else. You don't have to. You really don't need to. If you spend probably £500 or £600 building a PC, that's going to last you easily a couple of years, as long as you maintain it properly. Like, it's such a good and cheap thing to do nowadays, and it's fun as well. It's so much more fun than just going out and picking up a console and then just being locked into what they want you to buy and what they want you to do, which kind of brings me nicely onto my next point. Is with PCs, you aren't locked to a certain thing. So you would have probably heard of Steam, which is probably the PC's biggest kind of game seller online. Now with Steam, I've never had any trouble with it. They offer ridiculous discounts. Games are cheap. Then they've got thousands upon thousands of them, free to play, early access, cheap AAA titles. Like, they're all on there, and you know it's all safe, reputable, and that's exactly what you get. And any problems, always go straight back to Steam and they will sort it out for you as well. But if you really don't want to use Steam, there is nothing making you. There's plenty of other places you can get your games from, like GOG, Green Man Gaming, CD Keys, Uplay, Origin. Literally there's so many different places you can get games from nowadays that you don't need to be, and you don't have to be locked into one thing. On my PC I've got literally everything and everywhere running in terms of getting games from, because I think having everything open and using everything is better than just using one place, to be honest, because you can obviously look around for the deals better, you can get better deals and better discounts and all the rest of it. So a really nice thing to do on PCs. Obviously with Xbox you're locked into Microsoft Store, PS4 you're locked into the PS4 store or the Sony store. Yeah, there's a decent amount of content on there, but if they don't want you having something, they are not going to be putting it out there for you, which is a shame really, because there's a lot of great open source stuff on PC which is free to use, free to pick up, and all the rest of it. It's great, and there's so much different stuff. Like my image editing program, for example, is GIMP. That's an open source project. Yeah, it's maybe not quite as good as Photoshop, but for the prices Photoshop actually charge you, or Adobe charge you for Photoshop, GIMP does everything I need it to do, and it saves me a whole lot of whack. Now if I was having to put in money to buy Photoshop, I would be spending out quite a lot more than I am nowadays. So open source stuff is definitely worth picking up on PC, and that's games that can be literally programs, that can be anything. There's loads and loads of different options out on PC. So moving more on to the games and stuff in PC gaming, obviously you have a much wider choice of mods. Now there's Nexus Mod Manager, there's a few others as well which do mods which actually allow you to pick up a load for certain games and actually install them. Really easy thing to do now. There's no more having to drag it into files and make sure certain settings are done and all the rest. So all these kind of programs actually do it all for you, which is really nice. And there is absolutely crap tons of mods for games out, and there's mods that you would never have even thought about picking up or even existing, like Thomas the Tank Engine Skyrim Dragons is a perfect example of the utter ridiculousness of mods, or how they can be so ridiculous on PC, but it just adds that whole other element and a whole other level into PC gaming which you just do not get on console gaming. I really have to say, I know PS4 have recently rolled out mods for like Fallout 4 and all the rest of it, but again, you are only locked to the ones that Sony want you having. PC will literally have, you can pick them up from anywhere, you can pick them up from the developer's actual website if you trust them and you feel like you can. There's so much different option and variety of stuff out there that you can get, which is not the same on console. Now, it's good to see console are actually starting to go into the mod scene and all the rest of it. It's taken them a few years, they should have done it a few years ago, but it's good to see that they are slowly venturing into that side of it. But that brings me back to one of my first points. Consoles are becoming a lot more like PC gaming anyway, so why would you not just go into PC gaming? Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, consoles are easy, pick up, plug in and play and all the rest of it. I promise you, PCs are worth it. They're worth taking that little bit extra time just to set them up exactly how you want to set them up, because the range of different options and variety of different things you can do on PCs is definitely worth doing. I have to say, it's worth spending that a little bit extra time sorting out your PC exactly how you want it to be, and then you know exactly what's on there, what's going on, and all the rest. So consoles, yeah, they're easy. Plug in and play, pick up a disc, shove it in, you know it's going to work. Although saying that, there's still a lot of downloads that you need to be doing for day one patches and all the rest of it, which is another point. Consoles, I believe, do throttle the bandwidth of download speeds, because I download easily at 12 megs a second on PC. Console, I'm lucky to get 2 megs. Like that's ridiculous. So there is no reason why I should be getting such a slow download speed. Consoles throttle bandwidth speed to download. So another reason you're still having to pick up downloads and day one patches and big patches and all the rest of it. Just come over to PC and just do it on here. It's so much easier. Installs it all for you. You don't need to do any drag, drop in, file switching, anything like that you used to do. It's all really simple nowadays. Developers have actually made it really easy nowadays to PC gaming, to get into PC gaming. That's kind of bringing me onto my last point as well. Now, I wanted to kind of leave this to the end because I'm sure this is probably the point that is going to score me a little bit of hatred, but it's true that nonetheless, and I have to mention it. Graphics on PC are better. There's no, I can't bullshit, I can't beat around the bush. That is it, end of the day. Graphics are better. Now, obviously, if you haven't got a system that can run the highest of graphics, you've got options then, which are still going to be looking probably better than console. Even on the lowest of settings, they're still probably going to be looking and actually running a lot better than console games. So it's still worth doing even on the lowest of settings. Definitely do it. If you have any questions or queries or anything like that, I'm going to be putting out loads of these kinds of videos of what you need to do, what you need to get, kinds of things you need to be looking out for getting into PC gaming, and then when you're into it, what you want to be trying to do to modify your stuff and all the rest of it. And I'll be releasing quite regular my own setup and what I've upgraded and modified and all the rest of it recently videos as well, so keep an eye on those. Please do like this video if you've enjoyed it, if you found it useful, if you found it helpful, if it's encouraged you a little bit to get into PC gaming that little bit more. If you haven't, though, please leave me a dislike. Just leave a mention and a comment in the comments below, though, telling me why you didn't enjoy it so much. I've tried to stay away from the whole console versus PC war thing because I don't think that's useful for anyone, to be honest. So please I know I may have said a few things which are more biased towards PC, I do know, but I've tried to keep it as unbiased as I can. But I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Please do subscribe, because like I said, there's going to be plenty more of these kind of videos coming out. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one.